What's up guys, I'm Håkon Abroad and I recently returned from exploring the beautiful and vibrant city of Seoul in South Korea, and I want to share my favorite things to do and see in Seoul. So anyways, here's my Seoul Top 10. Now Seoul is the capital of South Korea, and it's a city with nearly 10 million people, filled with history, old temples, yet towering skyscrapers and new technological innovations. So anyways, let's start off this video with number 1, Gyeongbokgung Palace. Built in 1395, it was once the main royal palace of the Joseon dynasty, and it's a stunning intro into Korean history. And make sure you put off plenty of time to explore, as there are so many temples, houses, small villages, back alleys and so much to explore here. And the first time I went to Seoul, I probably spent around 4 or 5 hours exploring this area alone. Now even though it's very touristy, if you explore the smaller parts, especially to the backside of the temple/park area, you can find lots of quiet areas to sit down at and relax while enjoying the extremely detailed buildings and architecture. And if you have time for it, make sure you don't miss out on the changing of the guard ceremony, as that is pretty cool to witness too. A short walk away from Gyeongbokgung Palace, we have the Bucheon-hanok village. Now quite popular, touristy and some even say overrated, it is definitely still worth a visit. It's an old traditional neighborhood which is home to hundreds and hundreds of traditional hanok houses dating back over 600 years. And it was once the residency of the wealthy and high-ranking officials of the Joseon dynasty. And many of these houses are still lived in today by the locals. However, some of them are also turned into guest houses, galleries, shops or even restaurants that you can enjoy a nice meal at. And you can even see the famous Seoul Tower from this village. Now when you get to this village, just walk around, explore the village and the architecture, and the views of the tiled rooftops against the city skyline and all the traditionally built houses are unforgettable. However, one thing I feel like I need to mention, once you get to this village, please be respectful, as there are still many people and locals living in these houses. So make sure you're quiet and respectful to the locals who still live in these houses. So anyways, next on the list we have a very cool place here in Seoul, and that is the Namsan Seoul Tower. The Namsan Seoul Tower was originally built in 1969 as a broadcasting tower. However, it is now a major attraction, especially with tourists, which is located on the Namsan mountain, and it offers a 360-degree view from its observatory deck. Now, the Seoul Tower is going to give you one of the best views of a city you could ever ask for, and I mean seriously, look at this view. There's also lots to do at the Seoul Tower, like you can for example just walk around and enjoy the view, you can go to the top of Seoul Tower and enjoy a nice dinner or even enjoy the view from there, you can take a cable car down to the city or enjoy a nice walk in the mountain park. There's also this fence that thousands of people have placed love locks on, so if you're traveling with a partner, this could be a cool sentimental thing that you could do together. So anyways, for number 4 on the list we have the War Memorial of Korea. Now this is quite different from the rest of the things we've done so far, however it is totally worth a visit. Opened in 1994 on the former site of the army headquarters, this massive complex/compound honors those who sacrificed their life for this country. Now it also teaches a lot of history regarding these wars, especially the Korean War, and it also shows and teaches you about the countries who helped out during the war. Now the Korean War Memorial focuses heavily on the Korean War, which lasts from 1950 to 1953, but it also covers Korean military history from ancient times till today. They also have a pretty cool outdoor display featuring tanks, planes, missiles, other type of weapons and even helicopters and more. What is this? Why do you need this? What do you need it for? Now there is also a pretty interesting statue outside called the Statue of Brothers, which shows 2 brothers, one a South Korean soldier and the other a North Korean soldier. And this statue shows these 2 brothers reuniting on the battlefield during the Korean War after they were separated once the country split into 2. And just like at the Bucheon-hanok village, you can also see Seoul Tower from the War Memorial of Korea, which is also pretty cool. So anyways, next on the list we have something a bit more chilled out, and that is the Cheongyecheon stream, which I would highly recommend you visit in the afternoon or at night. Now the Cheongyecheon stream is a long shallow stream that runs through downtown Seoul. And a little fun fact, it actually used to be covered by a highway, but they uncovered it and restored it and its beautiful nature back in 2005, turning it into a peaceful, quiet, walkable path. Now this stream is cool and relaxed during the day, but at night it really comes alive. Lots of lights, little water features, projections and art is shown along the top of the stream/river. And it's honestly just an amazing place to just slow down, relax, walk along the stream and just chill. And if you're lucky, you might even be able to see some animals on the stream, like I did. Now I highly recommend coming here after dinner or in the afternoon, just to relax and take it all in, because if you're going to Korea, you're probably going to be walking a lot, so having some chilled out time to just sit and relax by a lovely stream like this is honestly very nice. So anyways, next on the list we have a really cool palace that you must visit, and that is the Cheongdokgung Palace. Now this is not one of Seoul's big palaces, but it has a very different vibe than Gyeongbokgung. Chandok-gun Palace was built in 1405, and unlike the others, it's built in more with nature. It's kind of tucked into the hillside with trees and small paths all around instead of a big open square, just like Gyeongbokgung is. And a little fact, this temple actually became the main palace for a while after Gyeongbokgung got destroyed, and many kings preferred living here. Now this is a massive complex with so much to explore, so make sure you set off plenty of time because this place is unbelievably stunning and there's so much to see, so many smaller temples, houses, back roads to explore. It's honestly amazing. And it's a very big area slash temple, yet feels way more quiet, small and peaceful than some of the other big temples, like for example Gyeongbokgung. And another fun fact is that this is one of the only royal palaces in Seoul that's recognized by the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's specifically known for its fully preserved secret garden, also called Hwon, which I'll talk about next. So anyways, next on the list, also spot 7, we have the secret garden, also called Hwon. Now connected to Cheongdo-gun Palace is something really special, the secret garden. Now historically speaking, this place was only really for royalty back in the day, and you can totally tell, because it's massive, it's big, it's quiet, it's peaceful, and full of beautiful spots like the Lotus Pond, pavilions and centuries old trees, buildings, temples and anything you can think of. However, one thing I feel like I need to mention here is that you cannot walk in here at any time, you have to book a guided tour. However, these tours are really cheap. If I remember correctly, they're only like 5,000 won or something, which is barely anything. And once the tour starts, you're actually free to just leave the guide and go explore on your own. Now it's a beautiful garden slash park with lots of small temples, buildings, villages, houses and ponds. And it's one of those places that almost makes you forget that you're in the middle of a giant vibrant city with almost 10 million people. And it is definitely worth taking the extra time to visit. So anyways, for number 8 on the list, we're going to check out something a bit different, and that's something I know all the food people here will love, Gwangjang Market. Now for a complete vibe switch, Gwangjang Market is all about the food, and if you come to South Korea, you cannot skip out on the food. Seriously, I mean it, you will massively regret it if you do not eat more. Now this market has been around since 1905 and it's Seoul's oldest traditional market. However, this of course also makes it one of the busiest. And yeah, it's kind of chaotic, but kind of in a nice way. Now the main attraction here is obviously the food alley, where you can eat lots of stuff like binnetok, which is some cool tasty mung bean pancakes, which I really enjoyed. You can eat dumplings, kimchi, anything you want, other Korean foods and lots of cool snacks. So once you get there, just follow the crowd or the smell and grab a seat wherever you want and enjoy some amazing food. Now yes, I will say it is quite loud, very busy and to be honest very touristy and quite expensive and maybe even a bit overrated. However, the food was pretty good and the experience was nice, so it's definitely worth a visit at least once if you happen to be in Seoul. So anyways, next on the list we have Jongmyo Shrine. Now yes, I know, Hokon, another temple slash park thing, really? Well yes, because this is a cool one and quite different from the other ones and totally worth it. Now compared to the markets and palaces we've been to so far, Jongmyo Shrine is very quiet and quite a different place. It was built back in 1394 as a Confucian shrine for the royal family and where they used to perform ancestral rituals for the kings and queens of the Joseon dynasty. Now the main temple or shrine or whatever you want to call it is long, thin, short, which is quite different compared to the other temples, which I find to be really cool. Now just like the secret garden, you can only enter this temple slash shrine area by booking a guided tour. However, I totally recommend doing this as you will learn so much about why the temples are built the way they are, what the different roof colors mean, and about the kings and queens history. And you will even be able to learn why the roads are built the way they are, and you will honestly learn so much, and it's such a cool and interesting experience to have. So this shrine thing is not really flashy, it's not big like the other temples, but it has this calm, respectful feeling and vibe to it. And again, you almost forget that you're in a massive city of almost 10 million people, which makes this really special. Now I'm not sure if I remember this fact correctly, so I might have to fact check it, but on the road you have in the middle right there, you're not supposed to walk on the middle part of this road, and that is because the ghosts of the previous kings and queens who lived in this temple walk on them frequently, meaning if you step on it you might be pushed off by these ghosts. And this was a little cool fact that again my guide told me about. So anyways, now that we have checked out quite a few temples, we have one final thing on this list, and that is number 10, and that is Myeongdong / Myeongdong Night Market. So anyways, finally on this list we have Myeongdong and Myeongdong Night Market. Now this place is one big mix of food, shopping, music and lights and everything and anything you could probably want. Now Myeongdong is pretty big, but I would recommend you check out this main street as there is so much going on there. Now here you will find tons of Korean street food stalls selling all sorts of food, snacks and anything and everything you could ever want to try. Now in addition to that you will also find live music being played. and lots of other stalls where you can buy other stuff. But this area is not just food, this area is also packed with beauty shops, fashion stores and much more. Now yes, I will say it gets very crowded as you can see, but that can of course be part of the fun. Now it is loud, busy, smells quite amazing, and you will probably leave with some really cool souvenirs and a full stomach. But that is of course part of the fun. So yeah, anyways, that is it for my Seoul top 10. Now there is still so much to see and do in Seoul, so I will definitely have to come back and make a part 2. So anyways, let me know what your favorite things to do and see in Seoul are in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.